Here's something most people don't realize. Imagination and anxiety are powered by the same engine. The ability to picture a future that doesn't exist yet. That's the same muscle, whether you're dreaming up a brilliant idea or rehearsing a worst case scenario at 3 a.m. The question isn't whether you're imagining something, it's what you're aiming your imagination at. So we're going to talk about that and so much more today here on this episode of The Wisdom of Wow. Welcome back to The Wisdom of Wow. This is the final episode in season 1, and it's been a fun journey over these last 9 conversations. And I've loved having these conversations with you. I'm really curious where the future leads. And ironically, that's exactly what we're talking about today, is one of the ways that we look at the future. Is it fair to say that I am, if we were to put each other in boxes,
here it comes.
I am the optimist, you are the pessimist, and yet those labels fall short, which is why you instantly are like, well, yes, but, because there's a big but there.
But yes, but yes.
Yeah. And so we've tried really hard, I think, over the years to come up with some language in our work that is more helpful than optimism versus pessimism.
Or to remember that you're not the sum of one specific title.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I've already been bankrupt once. I didn't actually have to file bankruptcy, but we racked up a ton of debt, sold our house, moved to the opposite side of town. And I often say I would be bankrupt again and possibly dead in a ditch somewhere if it weren't for you. And when I say if it weren't for you, it is a direct connection to what a lot of people would consider pessimism. But
interesting. Okay.
But what a lot of people consider pessimism was your ability to go, hey, red flag.
Warning.
Hold on a second.
Warning.
Is that a good idea? Is that a good idea?
Bing, bing, bing. I am that annoying little dinging sound.
No,
when your car is like, hey, are you looking at the interstate? Hey, do you know where you're going? Eyes on the road.
But there have been 2 different ways that you've done that throughout our marriage. And I would say that one of them was pretty annoying.
Yeah, probably. I'm probably annoyed by it at this point.
And one of them was a gift, right?
Yeah.
And ironically, I can say that kind of jokingly for at least a couple of reasons. One is our last episode. And so if you didn't watch our last episode, you know that the way in which we talk to each other here and the way we talk to you in the context of our relationship is on very solid ground.
Very.
And second, it's because I can say that with humility because I've done the same to you.
Yeah.
There have been times where you're
I'm
like, well,
get your head out of the clouds. What in the world are you doing?
Well, and there are times that you've been like, well, who's the pessimist now? Because I've been
That
the one
too.
raining on your parade going like, we can't just get up and go move to a farm. And like, what about
But you can.
all these reasons?
Fun fact, you can.
Yeah. So if you've been in our world for a while, this language may not be new to you. But if this is your first time here, I think this episode here at the end of this first season can trigger a huge epiphany for you. We call it wow and how.
Yep.
And there are times when throughout our marriage, I've been the wow guy and you've been the how girl.
I've been all how.
And then we have flip-flopped without realizing it at times where you've been playing visionary and dreaming huge. And instead of responding with, wow, that's an amazing idea, I've been like, well, how are we going to do that?
Why are you sending me that?
And when we find ourselves in a state of unhealthy how, without making the whole episode about this wow how language, unhealthy how is not genuine curiosity. It's not really looking for a pathway for how to do something. When we say you're howing the wow to death, you're kind of pre-howing and assuming, oh, that's not going to work because of these reasons. And you can go ahead and trust me. I already tried to think of a way
you're
and figure out how to do it, and it's not possible. So let's just go ahead and stop that right now. Stop the dreaming.
Yes.
Stop the wondering.
You're choosing that everything has already been pre-decided.
Correct. Yeah. And it's interesting how people are like, I was just asking the question. They're like, don't rain on my parade. It's like, hey, I was just asking. And they'll say that, I was just asking. And yet none of the things they said ended with a question mark.
Yeah.
They all ended with periods. They were declarations
Very
of why
much.
something won't work. Right. And so when you find yourself in these situations where someone's playing how or what some might consider being a pessimist, it is often a very creative act of imagination. And this is a framing that a lot of people give me credit for that I did not create. And so we'll talk about the sources of where I got this idea. But one of the things I've said for many years now, first wrote it in The Wonder Switch, my last book, that worry is a misuse of imagination. And when people hear me say that or they read that, I've gotten so many emails after almost every week, not an exaggeration. I get another email from someone who's like, hey, I just read The Wonder Switch. That book came out 5-6 years ago.
Yep.
And they're like, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, what'd you enjoy? What was most helpful? What stood out to you? And so many of them come back to this idea of imagination misused. And when we are experiencing these moments where we're assuming that something's not going to work or we're just paralyzed by anxiety, it typically is us fast forwarding in a story, which is happening in our imaginations, to try to predict what's going to happen next for the sake of staying safe. And many of us are using our imaginations to survive, and some of us are using our imaginations to thrive. And that might sound cliche and cheesy, but it's true. But we have agency and we get to choose. So there are times where, is it fair to say you were misusing your imagination and it was more about worry and anxiety, and I was over here in Wonderland? And then somehow we flipped during certain seasons because my wonder got wounded. I was scared and afraid and anxious. And in those little seasons where my wonder switch wasn't on, I was the one misusing my imagination and keeping you from wonder.
Yeah. Yes. Yes to that. But also, I think there's moments, and this is stuff we don't talk about as often, that sure, it's easy to point at the how or the pessimist and go, see, you're just raining on my parade. You're afraid. You have all of this stack of fear that you're pulling from. You're misusing your imagination. When you don't apply it to the wow, half glass full kind of people, because I think they are still pulling from that same bank. There is still a fear. There is still a misuse of an imagination because it's so pie in the sky. It's so everything is unicorns and glitter without refusing to look at reality. And so it is both sides of the coin, regardless of which camp you're in.
Yeah.
You can really leverage a pessimistic how version of yourself, but not out of fear.
Yeah.
You can find, like, you're almost skinning it with a positive, imaginative, curious bent where you're going, hey, all of this could be the bad thing, but with that in mind, okay, now let's figure out what's possible.
Yeah.
So you and I have gone back and forth on that quite a bit, and I know we've kind of, summed it up for the sake of brevity and clarity in this way, but just understand that both sets of people can use both of their superpowers in a good way or a bad way. Both can be used for good, both can be used for bad.
Yeah. There are times that I've used wonder
as
what
a
we would call
medicator.
wow as a medicator.
Yeah.
Just like, my whole life people have told me,
Yep.
that's
I don't
not
want to think
possible.
about that. That
Yeah.
sounds that doesn't sound like what I want, so I'm going to stay up here.
Yes, it's like you go off into this dreamland where anything is possible, but you're living in fantasy,
Happily
not
ever
reality.
after.
Yeah, exactly. Nice little callback to our last episode if you missed it. But you're living in fantasy land and using wow as a medicator in the same way that someone would use unhealthy how as a medicator to try to stay safe. Or oftentimes, if you're doing this in the context of a team, they just do it to keep the people around them safe. They're just trying to protect people.
Yeah.
Because
they have good intentions.
Because some visionaries come in and it's like, oh, we've been through this before. You're going to drain us, burn us out, and then we're going to change the plan at the last second and blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not going to work. We're not doing it. But it's just coming from oftentimes a healthy motive of like, I'm just trying to protect our people.
Yeah, it's kind of like Enneagram types. If anyone is familiar with Enneagram types, you have the healthy version of your Enneagram type and you have the unhealthy version of your Enneagram type. And it's still the same type, but it just shows up in a destructive way on one side and a really hopeful, exciting way on the other side.
Yeah.
And so are you showing up, whether you are that innately pessimistic, I'm going to hold, like, pulling the reins kind of person? Am I showing up with the best intention, or am I showing up because I'm afraid? And like fear is the driving force here.
Yeah.
Same thing for anyone who's in that
Yeah.
half glass full. Are you pie in the sky, and that's out of fear, or are you like, oh man, anything is truly possible and we're going to figure it all out?
Yeah. So again, a lot of this comes back to how are you using your imagination? And there's a lot of people that are sitting around catastrophizing all day long. I always joke around and say some people are so creative, they're worthy of winning an Oscar for the screenplay they're writing every day. It's just if they were to win that Oscar, it would be for the genre of horror film because it is bad. It is a dark story. Everything is going wrong. And what's interesting about imagination is like our brains can't tell the difference between what we're physically experiencing or the stories that we're simply imagining. So our imagination is like this virtual reality tool. A lot of people think it's this thing that we use when we were kids that kind of fades, like make believe was imaginative. Like, no, every time you come up with an idea, you are imagining a solution to a problem that you haven't actually created yet. You're just trying to create it in your mind. Every single time you come up with a vision for your life or your family or a plan for your day, like planning out your day is a creative act of imagination. Your day hasn't happened yet. You're sitting down and planning it. So you're imagining at 3 o'clock, I'm going to do this. And then at 5 o'clock, I'm going to do this. And so I think it's helpful to reframe imagination as this like virtual reality storytelling device. Device is probably not the right word, but it's how we develop images and blueprints of the future. And if someone's wonder is not awake, if they don't have permission to get curious and explore possibility, well, then they really do start misusing their imagination to survive, to stay safe, to imagine all the potential possible outcomes. And that makes them anxious. And the reason they feel anxious when they're using their imagination in that way is because, again, their brain can't tell the difference. What's your greatest fear?
So claustrophobic.
Okay. I
Like,
knew
just
this. I knew this already.
The mention of it, my skin's already crawling.
Which is
I'm
ironic
like,
because she used to get like in boxes and cut in half.
Oh, yes, I did.
Used to get in baskets that we would stick like swords, like traditional magic tricks, right? So as the quintessential magician's assistant, you were constantly in these tiny little spaces, which is hilarious.
And I hated it.
And yet you did it with a smile on
I
your
did
face.
do it.
And so I think that was your own way of going, I'm not doing this because I have to. I'm doing this to like face my fears and prove that I'm capable. I'm going to conquer it.
Maybe some of that. Also, yeah, maybe.
But if you were to close your eyes right now, and imagine your greatest fear, picture yourself inside of a box, or like watch those little guys that are climbing through the caves.
Absolutely.
Where they're just like, okay, I can't breathe. And then they have to go, and they like breathe in and suck in, and then they move a few more inches and then find a way to, yeah.
Deceased. Cannot.
But like if we go there in our minds, it's not like we're actually in the cave. It's not like you're actually in the space. It's not like if you were to close your eyes and picture, or like imagine the spider crawling up the sleeve of your shirt or the snake wrapping around. It's not actually happening, but your body would physically react. Your heart rate might go up. Your palms might get sweaty.
I've had full tilt panic attacks on airplanes.
Yeah.
Going, oh, cool. We are over the Atlantic Ocean. I have to get off this plane immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had a moment, and you can't, it's like your brain, my brain literally catastrophized in a split second.
Yep.
And I didn't do as much as I leaned into that versus choosing to try to, hey, I'm okay. I'm grounding myself. I'm literally on my hands and knees on a seat going, oh my gosh, how do I get off of this plane now?
Yeah. And the plane's not actually going down.
No.
But you're imagining that it is. And your body is having a physical, real reaction tangibly to a story that you were simply imagining.
It's the walls closing in on me.
Yeah.
And I think we landed once in London, and I was like, by the way, we are now taking a boat home because I can't get on another airplane. Yes. There's a song by one of my favorite artists, Noah Kahan, and the song is really called Catastrophize. And I'm not recalling the exact lyrics to the song, but the chorus literally goes, I catastrophize, I catastrophize, I catastrophize. And the bulk of the song is all of these moments that he's had where the worst case scenario actually wasn't reality. Yet I still keep going back to catastrophizing. And then look, this didn't actually all go some of it might have gone sideways, but not all of it. Yet I still catastrophize.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that sometimes I listen to it and I laugh out loud because I'm like, it's me. That's me sometimes. When I'm in my worst state, I catastrophize. I drive to a meeting that I'm not excited about and I play every horrible scenario out in my brain going, okay, well, this is how it could go. Am I prepared for that? Okay, but it could also go like this. Am I prepared for that? What would I say in this moment? If someone said this to me, would I fight? Like, I want to know going in, that's me protecting myself. It's a catastrophizing moment where I'm imagining all of these horrible things, but that's out of protection and it's out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a fun little board. I think we've referenced it in previous episodes. Fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. And so instead of like, what would my life look like differently if I showed up in that anxious setting or that meeting or on that airplane and went, hey, what if I imagine all the amazing things that could happen? What if I stopped catastrophizing and remember that some of this is going to go right?
Yeah.
And it's not all going to be wrong. And I think there's a set of people I have definitely known that I know that I have definitely been this person in the past where I actually kind of want it to go bad, which is like a whole different set of things. And I think I want it to go bad because I want it to be true. I'm going to catastrophize and break it all down because if I can get to the bottom of it, it's going to be true.
Sometimes I think that's the fear of success, though.
It is the fear, and I have that as well. There is a fear of success because I'm afraid that then I have to level up. I have to show up well, or I have to change something about myself, or I have to be accountable to something. That feels claustrophobic to me. But in that breakdown, I think I want to be right. And so this is all going to go poorly. So I got to make sure that that is true. Because then I can justify my actions and my reactions versus the approach I now take, which is how do I redirect the narrative? How do I shift the underlying sand to serve whoever is involved in a way that is honoring or that is motivating, even.
Yeah.
You know, at Story a lot, I'm in the weeds with people who are not having the best time. This is not often. It's a very rare occasion, but something happens and someone gets upset. And I go and I talk to these people, and it's my job in those moments to help bring them back down to reality. Go, hey, I understand that this might feel like this was this huge, horrific slap in the face. It was just you couldn't find the bathroom, and it's going to be okay. And I'm dumbing this way.
This venue is stupid. I don't know why.
Oh, the number of times it's just horrible.
The bathrooms are hard to find. There's not enough signs.
There's never anything. There's no water. Everyone hates us. And you go, hey, this is like legitimately not true. I remember there was a woman once who was like, this whole building isn't even ADA compliant. And I was like, they literally would not be allowed to open their doors. So we've got to take these big things, these big emotions, and instead of trying to bring everyone else into our tornado and just suck it all in, it's like, hey, I'm about to be that mountaintop to that tornado because a tornado can't survive that terrain. And so it's like, hey, what's really going on here? Hey, what's really happening here? And I think taking on that over the last 10 to 12 years, that kind of position in our work has helped me understand how I have the potential to show up in the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Trying to find ways to go, okay, how do I not be that? And how do I show up better for them and for the next person?
Totally. Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's something that we all have the ability to do for ourselves. I think anyone listening in, they have the ability to just pause at any time, at any day, and just go, okay, what's the story that I'm imagining right now? If my imagination is where a lot of my stories live, both about the future and about, well, like we're constantly like reliving the past from memories, but thinking about how those patterns inform what's going to happen in the future.
Mhm.
How is it that we can pause and just go, okay, what is the story I'm telling myself? Is that a story of that is productive? Is it a story that's destructive? Is
Yeah.
that a story that's designed and coming from a place of trying to survive? Do I have the agency to shift that story in an effort to try to be creative or innovate or come up with a new option I haven't thought of yet?
Yeah, because fear makes us a victim. And I think that mentality is so prevalent in today in 2026 that everyone is a victim of something. We're a victim of this, we're a victim of that. Y'all, we're not all victims of something, and we don't have to live in that narrative. Um, and really, the fear is, if I'm not that, what am I? If I'm not this thing, what am I then? If this isn't the thing we're aiming for, then what is? And we're so afraid of that we make ourselves the victim of the story by being afraid, which then makes all these people rush to us and try to fix it. And instead of us going, hey, you know what? You know how I could show up today? I might be at like 40%, but I'm still not going to catastrophize this, that, or the next thing.
Yeah. And even if you're content and you like the story that you're living, meaning you're not pursuing some kind of grand possibility, you're not like, I want to start a business or I want to move to another country, or you're not trying to reinvent yourself or kickstart some type of inciting incident that's going to change everything in the story you're living. If you find yourself in a place of contentment, it's still not okay for you to misuse your imagination
No.
on worry and anxiety. Again, because the brain can't tell the difference. And so your body is physically reacting to these stories that you're telling all day, and it's making you sick. According
Mhm.
to the American Psychological Association, 7 out of 10 adults in the US alone have experienced additional health impacts in response to a stress and anxiety, a story that they are simply imagining.
Y'all turn off the news.
Yeah. When your nervous system is
My
becoming
gosh.
activated to a story that you're only imagining,
Yeah.
again, your body reacts to that. You're starting to produce cortisol. It's this stuff is we're all walking around with like way too much cortisol in our bodies simply because of the stories that our imaginations are tuned into. And yes, I know you say turn off the news, but
We're
so much
being
of our media
trained.
is designed
Yes.
to sell fear
Yes. Because
and
it's a powerful motivator towards something
correct.
else. And the media gets an opportunity when we are so paralyzed in our own fear and wondering what to do next. We're looking for the escape hatch.
Mhm.
We're going, where is it? Get me out. And they go, it's right over here. It's this drug. It's this thing you have to buy. It's this relationship that needs to start or end.
Mhm.
It's this thing you need to do. And we don't even realize it. Some people might be listening to this and be like, okay, conspiracy theorists, get your tinfoil hats out. Y'all, this is not conspiracy. It is real.
Mhm.
You are being sold hook, line, and sinker, lies on lies on lies. And then you are buying inadequate solutions to those lies,
Mhm.
which make you feel even worse. And it is a vicious cycle that you have absolute authority to get the heck out of.
Yep. Yep. All right. So worry is a misuse of imagination. Where did it come from? Uh, when I wrote those words, I was researching for my book. They came from a quote from Seneca,
Mhm.
who said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And I've always loved that idea that we suffer more imagination than in reality, because it almost implies that there are very real things that we go through that are genuinely painful that we
Yeah.
sometimes don't have control over. We experience loss, we experience sickness in our health, sometimes
Mhm.
like outside of our control. Sometimes other people do really stupid things in the world that hurt us
Yep.
and other people
Yep.
around them. So pain is very real, but suffering, I think, is different. Pain is real, and suffering is often a story. And so we may not have control over the pain, but we have agency and control over the story. And I think one of the greatest ways to sort of recapture the productive use of your imagination to focus it on something more hopeful and optimistic and beautiful is pulling from inspiration from Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl.
Mhm.
I can't imagine like what it's not even possible for me to imagine what
No.
it's like to have the lived experience of him of spending time in a concentration camp. But he talked about how when we develop this redemptive perspective on our suffering,
Mm.
then our pain was real, but our suffering tends to cease and stop. And I think that's it. It's that redemptive perspective. What is a redemptive perspective? It's finding another frame on the story, finding some meaning in the story. Hey, I didn't choose for that thing to happen to me, but because it did, I am this. Because this happened, I was able to become this, or I was able to help people in this way. It's the redemptive narrative
Yeah.
that allows you to reframe the story to rescue your imagination from a destructive use so that you can stop catastrophizing and start dreaming again.
Yeah, because you and I could both live in stories of abuse
Sure.
and go, well, we are forever a victim of that. And that's the only narrative we have. And we write everything out of that. Or we go, that was a blip on the radar. It happened. It had impact. We're not denying that there was pain or there was impact or it changed things about us.
Sure.
But I don't live there. That's not a house that I built that I want to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to go, nope, my house is over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaving this one because somebody else built it. And I'm getting the heck out.
Yeah.
And so everyone has that same choice. We do this a lot with our kids. When they feel slighted by one another. I can't believe that you took my iPad. I can't believe that you wouldn't let me sleep with you last night. How horrible. It can derail them. They are so stuck in these like momentary things. But they would not define themselves as, well, I'm the sibling that never gets to sleep in that room.
Yeah.
They forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why can we as adults not do that? Why do we hang on to something? And I think, you know, psychologists would point towards there's oftentimes that people who are in peril often have a whole bunch of people around them who are constantly trying to help and fix. It makes you feel really good. And so we stay in the peril.
Yeah.
And go, no, quit throwing me the life raft. I don't want it. I want to keep drowning. But if you say that to somebody, they're like, that's insane. Nobody wants to keep drowning, except there's so many people walking around actively trying to drown.
Yeah.
And not accepting help, not getting out of the water. They're going, nope, I'm going to keep drowning because that's my safe space.
Yeah. It's balanced, right? I like tiptoe in conversations like this around what you're talking about because, you know, there's a lot of
it's complicated.
It's complicated and nuanced. And yes, there's lots of systemic issues that really do get in the way of people being able to help themselves. And yet,
Yes.
you know, I am a middle-aged white male growing up in a very wealthy country called America. And it's very easy for me to say all the cliche phrases, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps or whatever. One of my greatest annoyances is the idea that everyone's doing their best. There are some people that are genuinely stuck and struggling and are legitimately trying to do their best and still not winning. But the majority of people who are wishing for a better life are actually not doing their best because most people are more capable than they realize. Mm-hmm. And their best is not currently on display. They can try harder. Yeah. And so it annoys me to excuse mediocrity by saying, everyone's trying to do their best, be kind. Okay, also be kind. But we should just be kind, not because we should be assuming that everyone's doing their best.
Yeah.
But all of that to say, like, I have deep abuse in my childhood. I have actual poverty in my childhood. And yet I did my best. I worked really hard and I made so many sacrifices. And so it's really easy to hear things that sound like they're in some sort of like, oh, well, you're like a motivational speaker or something like that. Or you're like one of those self-help guys that writes personal growth books. It's easy for you because you're a white American male.
Yeah.
And what we're not saying is that there aren't systemic problems. But so much of our ability to see what's possible for us goes back to the story that we are committed to imagining. And we've got to stop rolling our eyes with cynicism and labeling reality as cliche. I mean, pick a motivational quote. Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Disney, if you can dream it, you can do it. It's easy to put these ideas up on posters and just go, oh yeah, if you can dream it, you can do it. But you can't do anything unless you can imagine it first, because your imagination develops a story that's the blueprint that, again, your imagination goes, well, I can't tell the difference between what you're imagining or reality. And so I guess we're trying to go to work now and pursuing this dream. So I'll do everything in my power to help you out. So we've just got to stop with the nonsense. We've got to let go of cynicism, which is, I think, just our little inner child who's afraid. And so we're kind of posturing and pretending to be confident. I think that's a Bob Goff quote, that cynicism is fear posing as confidence. I love the idea. Like, stop with the cynicism. Pause and go, what story am I genuinely imagining right now? Is that story true? And can I create space for the reality that fear is often a liar? Not always, but liars sometimes tell the truth and they often lie. And so fear is often a liar. And perhaps I really do have the power and the ability to imagine a better story.
Yes. It's not either or. You don't have to only have catastrophe, and you don't have to only have pie in the sky.
Yeah.
It can be both and it's gonna wax and wane depending on the season you're in, the story you're living, the things you're in pursuit of.
Yeah.
But stay the course.
Yeah.
And know that the waves will crash and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this one up. Let's bring it back to the very beginning. We joked around about the wow, how roles that each of us have played and the times that we've rained on each other's parade. For the people out there who are constantly catastrophizing, there's good news. You have a superpower, and it's one of the superpowers that I honored at the beginning of this conversation. I'll remind everyone about it at the end. I would be bankrupt and dead in a ditch somewhere if it weren't for your ability to see the red flags. Be like, hey, pay attention, warning here. And so the good news is, if you are practiced at misusing your imagination, you can redeem that skill that you have mastered, the thing that you've been masterfully using over years. You can redeem it by now using it in service of others to protect them from potential scenarios. But in the process of looking for red flags, you have to recognize that some of them are green. And so some of those red flags are actually green flags that are saying, hey, this isn't going to be easy, but it's going to be possible. So move ahead anyway. Yeah.
Great.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. This has been a lot of fun. These conversations and this context, it's just, I think, not just giving people a glimpse into this part of the work and who we are, because a lot of times you're the most 99% of the time you're the person that everyone sees, which is by design. But I like having these conversations with you. You know, for 10 years, this is what we did in the car, driving all over the country, being on planes all over the world, is we would have these conversations and we would work it out and ask big questions and have friction and work through it. And it's honestly why we are where we are, is those 10 years of traveling, all like being road warriors, and hours and hours and hours of conversation. If you don't have people around you that are willing to have these kind of conversations, you need to find some, because they're really magic.
Yeah.
Not in the cliche way, but in the actual, real, tangible magic way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in this season of moving out of information age to imagination age and stumbling over that Socrates quote that wisdom begins in wonder, the wisdom of wow might be new language for us. But as I listen to you say that, I realize, gosh, we've been practicing the wisdom of wow for a few decades now, where we've literally gone, I don't know. And we've fought hard to stay intellectually humble so that we can be open and curious about the possibility of what could be. And it's really fun. I think we're in a fun season of life where we're experiencing an actual tangible return on investment of practicing the wisdom of wow, and how amazing our kids are, and the strength of our marriage and the foundation it's built on, and the strengthening of our faith and the growth of our business and the way that we show up and serve others in the world. So many of the very real world opportunities that we're experiencing are the result of 2 decades of practicing the wisdom of wow. And so it's been fun to give people a little glimpse into that. Thank you for participating
Of course.
and saying yes.
Always.
All right, that's season 1 of the Wisdom of Wow podcast. Should we do season 2? We don't know. We don't make commitments like that one publicly because we like to play jazz and improvise our way through our lives, but we certainly would give you say so in it. So if you want a second season of this podcast, tell us what you thought about this season of the podcast. You can email either one of us anytime, wonder@istoria.com. That's just the word wonder, WONDER, at ISTORIA.com, Istoria with an I, and wonder@istoria.com. Hits both of our inboxes. We'd love to hear your thoughts about this podcast, what you enjoyed, ideas that you have about how to make it better. And at the end of the day, we didn't just do this with each other because we would do this even if their mics weren't here.
These are just regular conversations.
Yeah, these are regular conversations for us. And so
this is like dinner banter.
If you want us to come back to the studio here at Social U Studios in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and do more of these conversations on camera, we need to hear from you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those of you who joined us on YouTube, appreciate all the feedback. And we'll talk to you again sometime in the future. Thanks for watching.